Greetings, Tony Mobley here. Welcome to Conversation with Tony Mobley. Today on Conversation with Tony Mobley, Garry B. Jr., media consultant, advocate for houses of worship and media ministries. And we're happy to have him. This is episode 26 of 2025 of Conversation with Tony Mobley. We are powered by Mimo Live. I want to thank the team behind Conversation with Tony Mobley for all of their hard work. You can reach Conversation with Tony Mobley at our website, conversationwithTonyMobley.com. We also have in the YouTube chat a chat question queue machine called Mukana. It is courtesy of Alex Lindsay and 090. You can ask your questions there. Those questions can be voted up or down. You can also ask your questions in YouTube. So we encourage you to ask your questions either in Mukana or in the YouTube chat. And we thank you so much for being here today and watching the non-live show. Thank you again for being here. And we're going to get right to it. And my guest today, Mr. Garry B. Jr. And I have to make a confession before he speaks. I was watching our Friday office hours show. I'm part of the community of office hours, and we end on the hour at 11 o'clock. We end, and so I happened to catch Garry B. probably about 6 weeks ago for the first time. And I started asking him tons and tons of questions about FREESHOW. And I was amazed at his responsiveness. And not only that, he has been prolific in using short videos to talk about FREESHOW. So we're going to get into that today. And again, I want to say welcome, Garry B. Jr. And the very first question is, who is Garry B. Jr.? 2 R's in the Garry.
There you go. There you go. Well, thanks for having me, Tony. I am a son, and I am a husband, and I am a consultant. And more importantly, I'm a kingdom citizen. So I love to do everything I can to help equip people in the body of Christ. I also love to equip nonprofits and organizations to tell their story well. And so I have spent the last 10 years with my own business as a media consultant, doing videography, doing documentary work as a cinematographer, and being a media consultant, helping ministries, especially with COVID. That was a big deal, helping them get their live streams going and figuring out what the best equipment is to invest in, the best programs to use. And so I've been doing my best to serve and equip as best I can.
Well, tell us about you're new to metropolitan Atlanta. Is that right?
That is correct.
So where do you hail from?
I hail from Kansas City, Missouri. That's the home of the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl winning Chiefs. Not necessarily this last year, but love Kansas City and spent my whole life there up until now. So this has been a big move for me and my wife, but we're excited to be here. And um, it's almost like a fresh start, I guess you could say, in terms of just starting over with doing business with new people and living in a new place and so forth and so on. So it's been an exciting journey. It's been an exciting journey. We've been here for about 7 or 8 months now. Yeah, 7 or 8 months we're going on. So
Well, I want to
yeah.
welcome you to metropolitan Atlanta, and I apologize in advance for the traffic. Okay.
Everybody tried to
I,
warn me about that traffic. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
uh, we want to say thank you to your wife again
Thank you.
for allowing you to participate in this conversation with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about the Garry B channel on YouTube. What do you want us to know about that channel?
Oh man, this channel, the Garry B. Jr. Channel, is dedicated solely right now to being um, the hub for anything you need to learn about FREESHOW. This is a program that I ran across myself as a just as a user, and I still am. I'm a user, so we're building a community of people that use this program and grow together. So if you are looking to use a reliable and robust um, presentation program, whether it's for your school or whether it's for your church, whether it's for your office or a conference or a meeting or whatever it is, I really do believe Free Show has everything that you need. And so for me, it was an eye-opening experience to run across that program. And when I started to learn about it, I came from a program called OpenLP, which is a software that is has been reliable for me for years. I've been using that for probably I was using that probably for 12 years prior to this. And I ended up having some challenges with it because of some updates that I had on my computer that it didn't update itself on OpenLP. And it didn't work anymore for me. So I ran across Free Show and I started trying to figure out how to use it. And I couldn't find very many tutorials. I saw some videos saying, hey, this is what it is. And they introduced it, but I was like, how do I use it? And so that started me on the journey of saying, okay, well, what do I want to know about Free Show? And I just started making videos about that, things that I found out and learned about. And that was back in December of 2024. And here we are now, 2025, about 7 months later, 6 or 7 months. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and just growing as a community of people. I've seen people's eyes open up and saying, "Oh, wow, I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know it could do that." And so seeing those light bulbs go off has been a fun journey for me. I have a background as a trainer, and so I love to just get on live on Free Show Fridays at 11 a.m. every Friday, and we just talk it out. We talk about different things. I think that's how you and I met. Like you said, you ran across the channel at that time, and we have a time where we go through um, beginner level content about Free Show. We talk about intermediate level stuff about Free Show, and then we talk about advanced level stuff about Free Show. And the whole time I'm answering live questions and doing tutorials on how to answer the questions. And so it's been a journey in that sense. It's something I didn't expect to be doing at this point this year, but it was something that I'm just committed to it as a user. As a part of the community, and there's an unbelievable development team and a developer and creator of this program. I got to do an interview with him on the channel, which was really cool. Him and a member of the board from Free Show. It was an insightful discussion that I really enjoy and appreciate from them. But I just enjoy using the program. So I use it for all my live streams. Actually, I use it for my live streams. I use it for when I do work with churches remotely to help manage their live stream and things like that. But in-house is where it is also very robust and useful for any ministry. So yeah, that's a little bit about that channel. I just started a new channel called Practical Productions that kind of shows another side of me in terms of video production. So everything I do with videos and cameras and lighting and things like that, and microphones and sound and all that stuff, a lot of it I learned in ministry, serving on the media team in the ministry. And so I do that now for a living, working with cameras and soundboards and stuff like that, working with people that need the help.
That's fantastic. I was looking for your page to share it, and for some reason now I don't see it. I don't know what I
The
did.
website page
Not the
or
website. Well,
the
I can
YouTube.
share the website.
Yeah, feel free.
So
Either way. The YouTube
so
page
this
as well.
is
That's fine.
the Garry B website page,
I
and
think that might be it. That's an email I just sent out. I think that's one of the emails, right?
you know what? It is. Let me go to the
That's the one I
browser.
sent out to the team or to the community to let them know, hey, we're gonna be talking. So that's good. That's good. There might
Yeah.
be I don't think there's a link to the site on that email, but that's something that if people sign up, we've been able to as you go to that email, a lot of people have signed up because one of the things I've been able to do is help distribute Bibles digitally. So probably 8 years ago, I downloaded a bunch of the XML file Bibles to use in OpenLP, to use those to be able to show scriptures and things like that. And after COVID hit, there was a big demand for those things, and they were pretty easy to find online. And then here recently, over the past couple of years, it's kind of tapered down where it's harder to find them. And so a lot of people find my site because they're looking for free and accessible digital Bibles. And so I've been able to help people download. I mean, I've had probably over 1,000 downloads of the Bible. So that's something I'm really excited about as well, to help that
Gary,
all
can
over the nation. Go ahead.
Can you share the link for the Bible for those that might be listening if they?
Well, it's on my site. So it's GaryBJr.com. And then you just go to the products page. And in there, you'll see, I believe it's just called Getting Started with Free Show. And that's one of the things that you'll see is a part of that category is Getting Started is going to be, you need to download some Bibles. And that's a big deal when it comes to using Free Show or any church presentation program uh, that for a long time, the way that it works right now, even with Free Show now, you can get online Bibles, but you don't get to download them directly to the computer, right? And so if you don't have internet access throughout your service, you won't be able to access those Bibles. And so what I was able to do is help distribute to where people can download those Bibles. So if you go to the products page, if you go back up to the top and select the products page on the upper right, you should be able to see the so that first one on the left, that first tab there, see that I think it say beginning with Free Show. One of those should say beginning with Free Show or getting started with Free Show. You can click on that and then
Yes, I see this one.
yeah, and it'll take you in and you'll see a lot of most everything I can do on my website. If I can do it for free, I do it for free. I do have some courses on there. I've got a no nonsense beginner's guide to Free Show that is just after making over 100 videos of Free Show tutorials and things like that. I kind of pour out and help people get started to say, hey, this is where I think you should start with this program because it's been around for a few years, but it's just it's not gotten the buzz that it deserves, I believe, in comparison to programs like ProPresenter. And I believe that really is the only program it can be compared to, which is foreign to me. I started using OpenLP. That was kind of my bread and butter is using OpenLP, and it was free. I loved it. And then to see a program like this that's completely free was just a shock to me, I must admit. So that's a big deal. So yeah, you can get those resources on my website to help you get your lower thirds and all that kind of stuff. But Free Show has templates built into it to do that as well, just as well. So this is just a resource page that I want to help contribute to the community of Free Show and hopefully empower some people to really feel confident as they work in their media ministry as volunteers or media leaders or whatever it is that they're doing. Hopefully that page is a resource for that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just
Sure.
want to do a shout out, Miracle Bible Way Church of Christ members. If you are watching, this is a great opportunity to ask your questions. And not only Miracle Bible Way Church of Christ, anybody who has a church media ministry or house of worship media ministry, and you have questions about using Free Show, this is your golden opportunity to have Garry on to be able to talk about it. And he's been prolific in his production of these videos, these tutorial videos. And I'm amazed at some of them. I think the longest one I saw was like 15 minutes. And
Okay.
then, the fact that you're able to do these tutorials in a short amount of time and give us so much information. And then you can, the benefit of it being on YouTube is that you can go back and rewatch
Yeah.
and learn,
Yeah.
continue to learn
That's a
on
big deal.
on this platform. So again, I want to say thank you to you. I was so happy that I was able to discover you on on YouTube several weeks ago, and it has been I've been talking about Free Show probably more than some people would like. But again,
I
thank you
love
so
it.
much for doing that. And the fact that you are so invested in helping media ministries for houses of worship get better, I
Mhm.
think is an amazing task. And just want to say thank you so much for giving of yourself in that way. And I know
No problem.
that you do offer consultation services. And
Absolutely.
if you
Absolutely.
want to talk about that, this is a good time too.
Sure. So, and all this is accessible from the website. You can go to my YouTube channel. There's some links to it. But if you do run into some challenges that you don't see answers to on the YouTube channel, um, you can schedule a consultation. You can book a consultation with me. I'm usually available most days of the week. You can go there and it'll show you my schedule. You can just pick a day that works best for you and a time, and we'll share screens and I'll walk you through some things and answer any questions that you may have. And then also join us on Free Show Friday. Like I said, that's the time too. Just it's kind of like this where people can jump in and jump in the chat. And I'm just constantly looking at that and they're answering questions or asking questions, I should say. And sometimes they help me answer questions too, which I really appreciate. We sometimes have some advanced users on, and then also the developer. He's jumped on from time to time to just help answer questions when there's a new launch with new releases and things like that. He really helps me out quite a bit to say, hey Gary, this is how this works, and I'm like, oh, thank you, because it just came out this week, or whatever it was, and so there's so much that they do to make that program great. It's the least I can do to in helping with the YouTube part of it right now, and then knowing what it's like to be a media leader, being a media volunteer, and not necessarily being fully trained, because I grew up in smaller churches. I know the majority of churches, I would say, are less than 100 people from what I've seen and read, and from researchers and things like that. And so that was my standard. I never was in a mega church or a big church. And so I've seen online how excellent those presentations are, and I love it. But I always wanted that to be the presentation that my church had. I always wanted that to be the presentation that fellow pastors and leaders that I knew that they had, and it was not always clear on how to do it, right? And or it might have been too expensive to do it. And so here comes FREESHOW, and it's completely free, but it's as fully robust as any program like ProPresenter can be. And I just wasn't prepared to use it like that. As many people, I'm sure, were in the same place as well, to say, how does this work? Because it's not like every other program that we had access to, or that I had access to, that was free or lower cost. And so it deserves the attention. It deserves to be seen. It deserves to be understood. And as much as I can, I'll do my best to help contribute that, because, like I said, I know what it's like to be a media volunteer and not know how to do something on the soundboard, or not know how to use the camera, and I don't want to mess it up. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't want to mess up the presentation or put up the wrong scripture. So I know exactly how that feels. And even in corporate America and in business, I know what it's like to work at a conference and be the camera guy and make sure every angle is proper and in focus, and the sound is right and all that kind of stuff. So I get to see it from a lot of different angles. And so I try to contribute that as best I can to this community of people that use FREESHOW.
Thank you, Garry B. Jr. Um, our next question is, what is your top 3 favorite features of FREESHOW? And that is from, I can't quite see the name,
It
but
looks like Ear to Hear Publishing. Is that right?
Ear to Ear Publishing.
Ear to
Yes.
Hear. Yeah. Um, that's a hard question. In my top three, oh, I'm going to say actions is one. So actions allow you to automate things in FREESHOW, which is a big deal because it streamlines your workflow to where you can simplify things, and you can put 5 different things that happen with one click, or you can drag those that one action to do 5 different things onto a slide, and it'll do that as soon as it gets to that slide on its own. So actions are my probably my top. After that, I would probably say the stage or confidence monitor view. That's a big deal. I didn't grow up having a stage view in the churches I went to. We didn't have a screen in the back to actually use, but I've seen it at meetings and conferences and bigger churches and things like that. And I always wondered, how does that work? How do they do that? How do they make that work? And FREESHOW allows you to have not just an audience view, but also a stage view for your people on stage, your pastors, your worship team leaders, and things like that, to where they can actually see what's coming up next. They can see a timer, whatever you want to format that to be. Oh, and then the third one, let me think. It's a toss up. I'll say the fact that it can actually work with multiple outputs, right? So I can have an output for the audience, and I can also have a live stream output that shows the same content, but just in a different format. So it's pretty robust. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, but I would say those are my top three.
Well, I'm going to share FREESHOW, and let me do this. Let me make it large.
Okay.
Okay, so this is FREESHOW. This is FREESHOW. Elevate your presentation with FREESHOW, and you can download it to the Mac. It's also available on Linux,
Yep.
Windows, and yes, Windows, Linux, and of course Apple. And we're just gonna scroll through just slowly right now. So I want those people who have not seen it to have at
Yes.
least a chance to see it.
Yeah,
And
it's been around for a few years, and it's gotten. I think if you go down to the bottom on one of those pages, it'll show you that it's. I think they've already peaked at about 2.3 million downloads is last I saw, and so I'm excited that the word is getting out and more and more people are starting to use it. because it is an asset. And I say that because churches from all over the world are using Free Show. That's what I love about it. It works when you don't have a budget. It works when you have a big budget. It's just it's an excellent program. So I work with I not work with, but a lot of folks that join us on Free Show Friday are from South Africa, from the Netherlands, from Malaysia, or from Florida. I mean, they're all over the world. So it's really fun to be able to connect with brothers and sisters um, all over the world with something we can all have in common, right? Like I said, it's an unbelievable community. They got a Facebook group that they get to communicate and navigate and share ideas and ask questions there as well, along with a Reddit page and a GitHub page for a request. I just love it because when you make a request, they actually make sure to make the update sooner than you believe, right? So it seems like a new update will come out probably at least once a month. You'll see something new that they've innovated with this program, and so it's just gotten better and better every month. And sometimes even more than once a month, you'll see an update because they're working to try to make this as powerful as they can, but also as user friendly as possible.
Yes. So I'm being very intentional about showing this because I was one of those people who really wanted to use ProPresenter,
Mm, it's a big
and
deal. Yeah.
this is ProPresenter.
Yep.
But I tell you, we can click on here about the start of it. It is it can be extremely expensive.
Yeah,
And
ProPresenter
so
is an unbelievable program in terms of how robust it is and how much longevity it's had, right? When I did that interview with the developer, he said that he used ProPresenter, and that's what inspired him to create FreeShow because he didn't have access to buy another seat or another license for it at the time, and so he ended up, coming back home from an event that he went to try to use a different program, and he realized that other program he used wasn't as helpful and useful as what he had been using with ProPresenter, and so he came home and he started building his own. And so he's a young guy from the Netherlands, I believe, and he's uh, developed this program. He made it open source to make sure that it's free for everybody to use anytime they need to use it. And I would say, like I said, ProPresenter is unbelievable. I would say that's the only comparison that you can draw to Free Show when it comes to that. And a lot of churches, they're not prepared to use Free Show because it is a learning curve, right? They're not prepared to use ProPresenter because it's a learning curve that you have to pay for. At least with Free Show, one of the things I like about it is that you can overcome that learning curve while you're still learning, right? Without having to be pressured to implement it right away because you're paying X amount of dollars per month or X amount of dollars per year. A lot of people that are on in the community, they're currently using a different program. Some of them are using ProPresenter and they're just trying to figure out how does FreeShow work so that they can transfer and use this program that does, and they're just trying to make sure it can do everything they want it to do. And they just are learning how to do that. And that's what a lot of the dialogue we have on Free Show Friday is okay, I want to be able to do this. How does that work in Free Show? And we'll walk them through how to do it. I'll walk them through some steps that I would take to do that, and they're day by day, hopefully, learning more and more to where they're more comfortable. Like I said, it's a lot of pressure to try to. You don't want to mess up the media presentation anywhere, especially in a service in a ministry or something like that. And so I really appreciate the intentionality that these media volunteers and leaders have to make sure they're doing what's best for the ministry, and they're just comparing it. A lot of people are downloading it to just compare to see, okay, is this really worth it? And so I can't say enough that I believe it is, but it's definitely up to the user. How willing are you to dive in and try to learn something new? And I'm doing my best to make as many videos as possible. Like I said, we're over 100 videos have been made uh, this half of the year, and hopefully the next half of the year we'll do another 100.
oh,
So it'll be fun.
okay, we the questions are piling up now, Gary. So we're
Go
gonna
for it.
we're
Go
gonna
for
we're gonna try to get through them.
it.
Okay, so let's see what the next question is. Okay, we have a question from Roscoe Jones. He is
Mhm.
coming from Madison, Indiana. How do you determine the pricing for your training resources?
That's an excellent question. And so for me, one of the things I look at is how much time and energy does it take for me to create it? And also how much time and energy would it take for somebody else to create it? Because a lot of what I create in terms of resources, if it's not a training course, it's something that anybody could create. I'm not unique in the fact that I can create it. So I don't want to make it so prohibitive that you can't access it if you don't know how to create it. And so usually it's going to be based on a time investment basis. And then also, I do my best to try to make it as if it can be free, I'll make it free. If I think it's something that everybody needs to have access to, and it'll make sense for them to use it, I'll make sure it's free. If it's something that's a little bit more advanced or intermediate, I don't want people to download that as a beginner for free, thinking that it's going to be easy to implement, because some of those things take some experience or some understanding to use, and those I'll usually put a fee on it. You'll see things on my website for as cheap as $1.99, because it's not hard to create, but it's something that is an advanced level feature that if you don't understand it, it won't make sense. So I don't want you to download that if you don't necessarily want to, make the investment to learn how it works as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Roscoe,
Yeah,
for your question.
yeah, that's a
Next
great question.
question. Roscoe is back again.
Excellent.
Often as you grow old in specific software app, you forget what is important to the new learner. How do you stay fresh in your training?
Oh, that's a good question. I get a lot of good feedback. Like I said, this community is very active, right? So I get emails, I would say every day, but I don't want to exaggerate it. But I would probably say I get probably 3 or 4 emails a week, from individuals from all over the world. Like I said, this morning I was telling you earlier, there's a gentleman from the language that they speak is Malaysian, in terms of some of the stuff that he sent me for lyrics, that they were trying to figure out some workarounds to use to use Google Slides with FreeShow. And so that's something that stands out to me when it comes to staying connected with the beginning level experience, and then remembering how I started in December using this program. I was just like, okay, I need to invest time and hours to learn it. And I just happened to have the time to do it. I had just moved, business was slow. And so I was like, okay, let me just spend hours learning this and do it, learn everything I can. And so what you'll see from me, if you go back to my earlier videos, they're very basic and hopefully helping you understand from a beginner level. And then as I grew with it, a lot of the people in the community that started with me, they grew with it as well. But like I said, every Free Show Friday, one of the things I try to make sure to do is introduce a beginner level topic to start out with, so that everybody that joins in, if they're first time users of Free Show or intermediate or advanced users, they can join in and maybe get a refresher or learn something that they need to learn that they can implement right away. And then we move into another topic that may be more advanced and intermediate level. So I remember my journey, and then also getting a lot of feedback from people that are new to it, and hearing their questions really helps me stay well aware of what people are wanting to know. What are their questions? And even on YouTube, you'll see a lot of questions there on the videos. I make sure to answer every single question. And if it's something that takes a lot of time or energy to type out that may be confusing, my answer is usually going to be, hey, great question. I'll have a video about this next week that'll come out. I'll make a video to help answer that question so that it can be a little bit more clear, instead of me just typing out a paragraph to answer it.
Okay, we have a question from Chip 22.
Okay.
Chip 22. Do you offer stage display view templates?
That's a good question, Chip. You know what? I do not offer that, as I say, unfortunately, but the part of the reason I don't offer it is because it's not an easy way to export that out and share it with an end user, right? So to make it available for somebody else. But secondly, I don't do it because I know that that's something that's highly customized that I advise everybody to talk with their leadership about, right? So when you're getting in as a media leader for years out in churches I've been a part of, one of the main things I learned was how important it is for me to stay in communication with the leadership team, from the pastorship to the worship leaders and anybody that was going to be on stage. I wanted to talk with them to get their feedback on what's important to them, and that stage display is a big part of that, to say, hey, what is it that we need, or what do you want to see? What's going to help you during the service or help you during the worship time? And that's going to vary so many different ways. I wouldn't believe it would do justice for me to make a template that is broad span for everybody to use, because I think it'll lock them into something that's not necessarily ideal for them.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And let me make a correction. That's DLP 22.
Okay.
DLP 22. Thank you for your question. Next
Excellent.
question. Okay, we have a question all the way from Warwick, Queensland, Australia.
All right.
and it's from Zachary Sorensen, who happens to be our TD tonight.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. If you build a library, can you share that library?
That's a good question. That's an excellent question, as a matter of fact. So, yes, you can definitely share a library of shows that you create. So, when you say library, my thought that you're talking about has to do with the lyrics that you create, the scriptures that you create, or even the settings that you have. You can export all of that and import it into another machine, right? That you want to use. Maybe you work on it at home and you want to import it to another machine at church or something like that, or just share it with someone else. You can definitely do that for sure. And you can import from other libraries, from other programs as well, just as easily.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Gary, that I'm already going to get ahead of myself from
All
this
right.
standpoint. You said you've been doing this only for 7 months. Is that
Using
right?
FREESHOW. Yeah, I learned about it in December. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to have you back when you are at about 1 year. So I'm excited to see what you're going to share. Not we're going to continue to keep up with what you're doing right now,
Sure.
but at the same time we want to revisit this. This is
Let's lock it
seven
in.
months today, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna and we're gonna come back again in a year. So
That'd
thank
be
you so
awesome.
much for your faith and favor for introducing this media presentation software. And I want to, on the behalf of people who work with small congregations,
Yeah.
we really need this, and we thank you for being an advocate for us. And I'm just going to
Absolutely.
include myself in it and say
Hey,
thank you
I'm in
for
there too.
being. Yes, yes, yes. Then, the big houses, they have a budget, and they
Yep.
they have volunteers, and then they have paid staff, and pretty much we all are volunteers in our smaller congregations, and typically
I
there's
know
no
how it
budget.
is. Yep. I
And
know
so
exactly how it is.
again, I want to thank you. I want to thank Zach for taking time. He is
Yeah, that's a great
also
question.
cutting this show,
Yeah.
and he shared something with you that I was not aware of. I knew that he worked with churches, but he specifically shared with you today, I believe in the
Uh-huh.
pre-show, that he works exclusively with media ministries.
Yeah, that's exciting. I love it. I
Yes,
love it. Yeah,
yes,
Zach, this
and
is for you, man. You got to check it out. You got to check it out if you haven't already. Check out Free Show. I think you'll love it, especially with your expertise that you already have. And that's a big deal too with people that have experienced being a part of a media team. And you start to get your hands on Free Show and wrap your mind around how it works. The possibilities are endless. And the developer, he's making new updates on things I mean, it seems like every day there's something new that they're talking about on GitHub, on the platform where they make requests and things like that. And so it's always fun to see what the new update's going to entail.
thank you, sir. Thank you, Zachary. Next question. Roscoe Jones from Madison, Indiana is back.
Mhm.
Volunteer burnout is often an issue. How does training help churches deal with this issue? Yes, this is something I need an answer to as well, Gary.
That's a good question. From my experience, the best thing you can do when it comes to I'm working with a church back home in Kansas City that I've stayed connected with for years. And one of the things that I've told them, I said, hey, you guys, we got to expand the team. This team has got to expand. I work with them as a consultant and help them with understanding how cameras work and how to use Free Show even. And they as soon as they saw what Free Show could do, and they were using another program, they had switched the same week that I showed it to them, and I wasn't prepared for them to do that so quickly, but they did it. We had a session, and they were ready to go, and they've been learning and running with it ever since. But growing the team as best you can, and I would say growing the team doesn't mean getting people that just are that you think are technical or that you think are that are savvy, and we that's good in the body of Christ. But it's also important to have people that are younger, right? That are there's a lot of young people that are I'm saying preteen young, right? Not even teenagers yet that have a propensity to learn how to use these programs and how to use these tools and this technology.
I want to interrupt you. I want you to
Yeah.
say that again. Please say that again.
to expand your team, and don't limit it to those who are adults who you think have experience and expertise in media or film or video or sound and all that stuff. But make sure you expand it with those who have the propensity to learn, and they could be preteens. These could be 11-year-olds and 10-year-olds. And in small churches I've grown up in, those were the drummers, and some of them, did other things. They served in other ways. And one of them was working the sound when I was growing up. And every time I went to other churches to help serve, that was one of the things I really pushed. And so I would talk to the team, and I would talk to them to bring their children to the trainings. And so, hey, bring your kids to the training, because if dad is back here or if mom is back here, Junior can be back here too, or the young lady that's the daughter can be there, and she can learn, and she may want to learn how to take pictures, or she may want to learn how to use a soundboard, or how to make this switch and all that kind of stuff. And so I've never seen a lack of willingness to learn. I have seen a lack of willingness to ask for the help as a media member, media volunteer. So make those announcements at the church, and then have the training, because like you said, if there's no training, people are not going to be interested in doing it, because they don't want that responsibility. Like I said, it's hard to have that weight of not messing up what's so important in terms of somebody giving the word. You don't want the speakers to start squealing and giving feedback, or you don't want the sound to go out, or whatever it is. So some people just shy away because of that. But if they're trained and prepared, the sky's the limit. I mean, they can do anything, and as long as they got the confidence to do it, that's where the training comes in. They're going to excel, and they're going to get even better from that experience. And so that was my experience. I didn't know anything about soundboards. I didn't know anything about cameras. I was asked to volunteer the same day that a volunteer was needed, and I just happened to accept the fact that I'll do it because it's needed. And ever since then, I just started asking questions. I made a lot of mistakes and learned along the way, and everybody was patient with me. But I was really eager to learn it, and this is when I was younger. I mean, I was in my 20s, and trying to learn how this stuff worked. It was just foreign to me. I didn't grow up having a camera or anything like that in my household, or expensive equipment or microphones and stuff like that. I only saw that at church or at events. And so it's an unbelievable experience to be able to be a part of it. It's very fulfilling when you do get to serve and see a ministry service go well, or an event go well, because you played a part in it. So I think everybody likes that feeling, but everybody's not necessarily prepared to put in the interest or the investment to learn it. And that's where the ball gets dropped a lot. So my goal as a media consultant is to really bridge that gap, to help teams be proficient and confident to use tools like this, use tools like their soundboards or their cameras or whatever it is that they've got. Because the best thing that you have, or the best thing that you can have, is the thing that you have access to right now. And FREESHOW is completely free. You can get access to it. The camera that you have, that's the best camera that you can have, because it's yours. You have it. Let's use it. Let's figure out how to make it work the best. And that's always been my motto and my mantra. I never wanted to say, hey, you need to get this $8,000 camera and this $5,000 computer in order to make this work. For when I grew up, that wasn't a part of the budget. So I'm not going to act like that's everybody's budget. But if it is, more power to you. But if it's not, let's work with what you have. Let's work with the budget that you do have. You got $1,000, you got $800, you got $400. Okay, let's figure out what's going to be the best investment for you, your team, and your ministry to make that work to accomplish your goals. Because everybody's goals are going to be a little bit unique too. So the best way to do that is to honor that and hear each other out. And like I said, expand those teams. Ask people to join you, and bring your kids with you, and say, hey, let me show you how this works. When this happens, slide this up or slide that down. Those kind of things are important. And I love the young people's willingness to learn. They're fascinated by it. So just bring them along. They'll jump into it.
I'm just curious. In your case, was it one of those volunteer toll kinds of things that they
You know what?
were?
Me and my wife, we talk about this. We look young. We're not young anymore. Look, I'm not a young man as much as I look, but I just was always looked at as the young man that was able and willing to do anything. So I'm sure it was voluntold, but it was kind of like a parent telling you, right? The pastor was
Uh
kind of
huh.
like a father figure. So it never came across to me as, man, they making me do this, right? It was always like, hey, whatever's needed, I'm willing to help learn it. But hey, and I tell them up front, hey, I don't know anything about this. I don't know how to use a soundboard at all. So just know that. And he's like, yeah, I understand, but we need you to turn on everything and do this. And this is how you do it. And that was all I knew, how to turn everything on. He's like, if it gets loud, just turn everything down. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And so the pastor was really, really, really wise with that kind of stuff, because he had a production company himself. He was a director of a choir and music ministry, and he had made some CDs and things like that. So he was really keen. I learned a lot from him about sound. And then I was always comfortable with computers. But yeah, I was voluntold, but it wasn't a negative thing. It was just expected. It was just that was just how it went. They were the
Yes.
elders in the church, and they just let you know, hey, this is what we need. And as a part of the fellowship, I was ready and willing to do it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
DLP 22 is back.
All right.
I have two screens for the congregation,
Okay.
and one I want to make a stage view for a timer for praise and worship, and the
Excellent.
congregation can see it. Can't see it.
Right, right. That's what I say. So the stage view, you want to have it behind the congregation, facing the audience, or it can be in the front, but on the front row, maybe facing the stage. Right. So right up there, uh, in the area where the people on stage can see it. It can be even on stage. Sometimes you'll see them kind of slanted up on the floor, a stage display there for people to look at. But oftentimes it's in the back, facing the stage. And so, yeah, you can definitely do that with Free Show. You can have multiple outputs that show the lyrics and the scriptures as the audience needs to see it on the one in the front for the audience to see. And then you can have another one that shows a timer. It can show a clock. It can show the progress of where we at in the slides, right? We might be on slide 5 out of 7, or where we at in the song. It can show we're on verse number 2, right? And then we got verse number 3 coming up, or the chorus or whatever. It can show all that on the stage view, which is really helpful. Another feature of Free Show that I'm not a musician, so forgive me. A lot of people that work in media ministry are they have a musical background, and I'm one of the few that doesn't. But it can show the chords as well. Now I can't get into that too much
Oh,
because I don't
wow.
have a clue, but you can see the chords of the songs. You can plug those into Free Show, and it'll be there for those on stage, the musicians and the singers and everything else to actually engage with and use that for however they need to use that. Like I said, I don't use it, so I'm not gonna act like it's something I'm fully aware of in terms of how it works, but I do know how it works in Free Show. I just don't know how it works how they translate that to play the right song, right music, and all that kind of stuff, and sing the right notes. But it's a feature in Free Show that you don't see very often in other programs, except like Pro Presenter, right?
Gary, is there an AI component to Free Show?
As far as I know, there's no AI component to it just yet. But in that interview that I did with the developer, that was one of the things that he talked about. He wanted to introduce some AI components to it that had to do with features for I believe the lyrics. He said something about, you have to go back and look at it. But one of the things that's really cool about Free Show that I liked, it used to be my top 3 when I first started using it, was you can literally type in a song, the title of a song and the artist, it'll automatically populate the lyrics for you, and you can save that as a show. And that's something that's really cool. It'll scour the web for several different sources, and it'll put in the lyrics for you. So you don't have to type them out. You don't have to copy and paste, which was a big deal for me growing up in ministries before. I would always find myself before the service, right before service, the music minister say, hey, we're going to be singing X, Y, and Z songs. And I had to go and find them on the internet and then copy and paste them in the open LP and then organize them somehow and figure out if this is the right order they wanted it in, all that kind of stuff. But with Free Show, you can literally just type the title and do a web search, and it'll populate all the lyrics for you, organized by chorus and verse and all that stuff with one click, and you can save it, and it's there for you to use right away.
That's fantastic.
It is. It
Unfortunately,
is.
we are now in speed round mode.
All right.
The
All right.
questions are piling up, so we're going to have
All right.
to
I'm gonna
answer
cut them
them
short. I'm gonna cut
quickly.
them short. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So DLP 22 is back again. Have you figured out a way to have media sync with my computer at home to the computer at my church?
Absolutely. That's a good question. So in Free Show, there is a backup and sync feature to where whatever you do on your computer at home, it will sync online using a Google Drive API with the computer that you have that API tied to.
Thank you so much. Next question. We have a question from Claude Descendis. It's a comment. Thank you for your work, Gary. Learning
Mm,
Free Show with you is a joyful experience.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
Claude.
that. That means a lot, Claude. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
Next question. We have another comment. Marilyn Wesleyan. I agree with the speed at the speed at which they respond to our requests. So I'm assuming he's talking about the
The
developers.
updates, yes, there is an unbelievable response rate that they have in terms of you'll get an email from the developer sometimes the same day you make the request saying, hey, we just closed this case because it will be in the next update, right? Or they may ask you a question about it and say, hey, can you give us more feedback as to why you think this will be important or helpful for the community? And they're very, very intentional about making sure they make the right updates to it, but they're very effective at doing them at a very quick rate, for sure.
Okay. Next question. DLP 22 is back again. My daughter is 10. She use she is
Prime
learning how
time.
to use it as well.
Prime time, I'm
Wow.
telling you.
Congratulations, DLP 22.
Indeed, indeed. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Next question. Claudio Lopez Waterman, do you work with any ministries that are only online? Hmm.
Do I work with ministries that are only online? I have actually, yeah, one actually not too far in the Metro Atlanta area. They actually meet online only, and they do it through Zoom, and then they also do stuff on Facebook and YouTube. And that's and then they'll typically have, like I say, strictly online. They'll have like a house meeting once a month from time to time that they'll meet, and but they'll still be online with those who don't get to make it to the house fellowship. And then myself, my wife and I, we've had an online ministry for some years now, and so absolutely.
You want to share your ministry link?
We're not we actively, since we moved, we haven't been actively doing it just yet. So there's no link to it right now, but we do have the site has our old stuff on it. It's called Kingdom ETC. So it stands for Kingdom Equipping and Training Center. So kingdometc.org. You can go there and you can find some of our past materials and resources and things like that to help encourage you. And you'll see some of our short films and stuff like that. We've always been a creative couple, so we like to create things to help tell the story of what, just like Jesus did. He told stories. So we love to help people understand the truth.
DLP 22 is back again. Have you figured out a way to have media sync with my computer? Oh, this is a repeat
Yep,
question.
that's the
Next
same one.
question.
Yep. So the answer to that is yes again.
Next question. How many houses of worship do you work with? How did you find them?
I think so in Kansas City, I can't say I can begin to count how many there. I just knew a lot of people in ministry. So everybody I knew in ministry, I worked with. And so just growing up in the church, I would say before we left, I might have been working regularly with maybe 7 or 8 different ministries. And I say regularly, like, so that was pretty consistent. But then there was other churches that would just call because they knew the pastor of this church, right? Or that church. And now with YouTube, I just started a YouTube channel this year, or in December, I should say. And they just find me in that way now. So like I said, there's a pastor in Louisiana that I just had a conversation with this morning. There's I believe I'm gonna say a media ministry because I don't know what their role was. They might have been a pastor or leader in that way, but they were going to do some training in, I believe it was Thailand. They were on Free Show Friday and they were saying, hey, thank you for the training. I'm going to be training 100 churches in Thailand tomorrow. This was on a Friday, so they were training on a Saturday. So I don't know how many churches are being reached or impacted by what I do now with YouTube. But that's usually how people find me now. They'll go to my website, they might schedule a consultation, or just download the Bible. They may just download a resource, and that's a way that I can help impact and empower them and equip them for their ministry work. So a lot of different ways now, but that's how it works now. They usually find me.
And this is me asking this question. Why
Sure.
is it important? Why is it important for churches to have a virtual ministry attached to their in-person worship?
That's a good question. So to me, the virtual ministry part of it is it's changing, right? So when COVID hit, that was a big deal to where it was important to be available because it was unsafe to congregate, right? And now we're seeing a shift to where it's safe to congregate and people have gotten used to what they were doing on live stream. And so when I say virtual, to me, I don't just reduce it to live stream. I would say it's important for the truth to go out, right? For the gospel of the kingdom to go out. And so that can happen from a recorded service that you share snippets on your Facebook page, or you still share snippets on your Instagram or on YouTube. You share the whole service or whatever it may be, or the teaching. But to me, the most important thing about it is um, Jesus talks about it's so important that the gospel of the kingdom go out to all the world, right? It's going to be shared with everyone. And so virtual is a really, really effective way of connecting with people in ways that we wouldn't be able to if we just stayed local where we were. And it's important to be local, but it's also important to go out. So from you can go, be in Jerusalem and go to Judea and go to Samaria, go to the ends of the earth. We can do that virtually in ways that we could never do it, in more cost-effective ways, I should say, that we could never do it before.
Roscoe Jones, thank you. Excuse me. Roscoe Jones is back again.
Okay.
Excuse me. You are young and articulate and developing a following. Where do you want to be or hope to be in 5 years?
Hmm. In 5 years, oh boy. Um, I have a desire to continue to equip people, right? And so I do it right now, mostly all virtual. Being in a new city and all that kind of stuff, I haven't made a lot of connections locally. I've made more connections internationally than I have locally, and so looking forward to doing that more and having a space where people can come and sit down and actually have a face to face and have a conference or a meeting or training or a workshop where they can do that, and then at the same time be equipped to go upstairs and do a podcast recording, or go in the next room and record a TV show for their website or for Tubi or for Amazon or whatever it is. And so I have some pretty broad scoping dreams that and desires that I believe are well within my grasp in the next 5 years. Thank you for the compliment. That's very kind of you, but I'm grateful to God that I'm where I am. He's been very good, and I'm hoping to experience his fruitfulness in every area of my life, and his goodness. So this is just one of those areas that is there, but it's everything encompassing. So me and my wife, we love to serve and help couples. We want to equip and empower them. So in that space, we would do that, and we would do it the same way virtually as well. So hopefully I'll be writing a new book. That'll be fun too. Having a new book out, having been an author, and uh, being a YouTuber is new to me too. So it'll be a lot of new things I expect to see in the next 5 years.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for your answer. And I want to thank Roscoe for
Yeah, that's a good
asking that
question.
question. And I want to tell you just a little bit about Roscoe Jones. He
Okay.
is a person who actually worked in video production at a university in California. I can't think of the name of it right now,
Okay. Excellent.
but he retired to Madison, and he was one of the office hour members, and I've talked to you about
Oh
office
yeah. Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the office hour members that actually came out of his way to visit me as
Wow.
I was recovering from some of my medical issues,
Yeah.
and the fact that he asked you that question
Hmm.
is that he is impressed with who you are, and I just wanted to make sure that you understand the
Sure.
importance of him asking the question. And I'm putting words in his mouth, but for
No,
him to
no
ask
worries.
that question, he
Yeah.
has a lot of positive feelings about you
I
based
can
on
appreciate that.
your presentation today. And so
Wow.
I really want to dig in a little bit more about this idea of the importance of
Hmm.
and I will say that I have learned that it's difficult to be effective as in person and
Online.
virtual
Yeah.
at the
Virtual.
same
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
difficult to do that. But I really want to dig into it from the standpoint of
Yeah.
I understand
Hmm.
that when we are commanded to go out and share the gospel,
Hmm.
that it must be more than just the four walls of the building that we're in.
Sure. Sure.
And that this time in history gives us a way in which we can reach so many people in so many places.
Hmm.
And you don't have to be um, a large congregation with a whole lot of resources. You can actually send out those digital missionaries to share God's good news. And so I applaud what you're doing. I, I'm thankful that your heart has been touched in such a way that you want to do what you're doing. And I appreciate you. And I've even though we have not had a chance to meet yet formally,
Sure.
that's coming soon. I'm looking forward
Absolutely.
to that. And
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you so much for that. And the other thing that I want to say to you is that I initially said that we probably should look at maybe, seeing where you are in 12 months. I don't think we can
Mhm.
wait that long. I think we might, I think we might have to revisit this a little bit
Yeah,
sooner.
too kind. That's whatever works best for you. I'll be open to it. I promise that that is something that I am completely committed to because I appreciate this opportunity to just be here with you and seeing all the different uh, faces that you've connected with and individuals that have so much experience. When you sent me the message, when you sent me the request, say I think you said it on the chat. You was like, "Hey, I would like to have you on my show" or something like that, and I was like. I think somebody's spamming me. I'm like, I don't think they know what they're talking about. Not in a bad way against you, but I'm like, I don't. I just been doing this for a couple of months or whatever it was, but it's an honor to be here. So I'm grateful for that, and I appreciate everything that you've been doing in terms of just your willingness to really try to pour into individuals by sharing the platform and sharing opportunities that you think are important and valuable. We've had some conversations about that, how you know how valuable technology can be and you want other people to understand that as well. So I can appreciate your heart for that because I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what is Practical Productions with Gary B. Jr.
Practical Productions. That is the latest channel. That's the second channel I've come out with. That I actually am sharing my thoughts and my perspective. It's a little bit different than Free Show Friday or the Free Show channel altogether because I'm not doing a lot of tutorials, but it's really me sharing my heart about production, right? So one of the things that me and my wife have been working on, we do a lot of we do a lot. We do films, right? So I made a few documentaries. I made a documentary. And we went to Kenya a couple years back, and it released in 2023. And we it's called Couture Farms documentary. So check it out if you have time. Couture was actually Abraham's second wife. After Sarah died, he got married again, and there's a woman named Couture. She was actually an African woman, and they had children together. And so we did a documentary about that how this lady's impact in these Kenyan nations and other African nations have really made an impact. But we just released another one that we're trying to get it distributed. And it's a documentary called Our Lives Matter. And we're interviewing young people and individuals that work in the community in Kansas City about how they can bring hope to the inner city of Kansas City. And so that's the one that we're looking forward to hopefully coming out with. But Practical Productions is really a documentation of my journey in film and telling stories at a high level, but at a very practical level, right? So I've never worked on a big film crew, which I can respect. I'm learning now how important it is in so many ways, but I've also understand how important it is to just work with what you got, right? So same way I approach media ministry and leadership and things like that, I approach videography and film and things like that to where you don't have to buy the most expensive camera to go and make great content or create something that people will be blessed by, encouraged by, inspired by. And so my goal with that is to really empower people to understand what do you really need to get started and what does it really take? Because you can look at YouTube all day and you can see people telling you get this camera, get that piece, get this equipment, and get this light and do that. And the Practical Production channel is saying, well, do you really need all that? Does it really take all that? And here's some ideas of some things you can do that you really need to look for when you're getting a camera for your ministry or when you're getting a camera for telling stories with documentary work and things like that. So it's really my heart and my approach to things. And me and my wife, we make films all the time as best we can and as often as we can. And we just enjoy the process with whatever we have. I've made a lot of investment in a lot of different gear and things like that over the years. And I'm excited to still be using that gear. And some of it I've gotten rid of because I was like, I didn't need that. And so Practical Productions is really hopefully going to help people not take the same steps I did that I deem were unnecessary, and kind of get over this idea that you got to get the latest and greatest gear. and really start using things and learning how they work. Kind of like my approach to FREESHOW. I just dove into it and just invested hours and hours into it. And I think that's what people need to do more than getting a new camera. Just invest more hours in the camera you already have. Instead of getting a new light, invest more hours in understanding how to use light and framing and shaping and things like that.
And if you don't want to invest hours and hours in it, you can contact Garry,
There you go. And I'll
and
be there to help you for sure.
he'll be there to help you. So
That's the goal.
what is next for Garry B. Jr.?
Oh, what is next? Hopefully more documentary films. I'm looking forward to doing a conference in North Carolina with some of the leadership at FREESHOW. The gentleman I did the interview with, he said, "Hey Gary, we're going to be doing a workshop at this conference. Would you be willing to come and present for us and just help people understand how this program works? Because it's going to be a group of media and worship leaders." And so I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So that's coming up in September. And hopefully connected with more leaders and pastors throughout the nations, throughout the globe, to help empower them to make their media excellent, whether it's online or whether it's in house. I believe everybody should have access to the Bible, and one way I can do that is give you the digital access to it to download for free. So hopefully more Bibles downloaded. Like I said, I told my wife, I said we got to 1,000 in 6 months. I said I want to get to like 5 or 10,000 by the end of the year. And so I need some exponential help that is going to only come from God. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, seeing more people download the Bible and have access to it to share throughout the world, and then be able to tell stories. Like I said, that's the goal: is to tell stories and using film to do it, and inspire young people and older people alike. Right? It's not just one type of people. We're all people. So I believe telling stories, making films and videos and movies and things like that is one of the primary ways that if Jesus were here on the earth now, I believe he would be some type of producer, or director, or a filmmaker, or something along those lines. The way he told those stories and parables in the Bible, that is literally how I cut my teeth in learning how to tell stories in film and even in writing. My wife is a writer; she's a published author, and same way for her. She learned how to write from reading the Bible. In terms of being an excellent writer, she's very, very, very good at doing that. But she read a lot of the Word of God, and so the more we can dive into that, the more we can tell stories from there. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Okay, we're down to our last question.
All right.
You're speaking to the world. What do you want the world to know?
Oh, I want them to know that God is good. I want them to know that it's important where your heart is. I want them to know that you can do some excellent things and you can make some great strides in this earth. And there are people that are willing to come along to help you. And hopefully you can find a community of people. You can find a network of people that you can join in a community that you can really grow with. And if you want to grow using FREESHOW, feel free to join us on the Gary B. Jr. channel. We're building a community of people that want to grow and just invest in media, in their ministries and in their schools or wherever it is, to really empower people to understand things that they didn't understand before, right? So we get to play the role of the media. We get to be the in-between. And if you're in that role and you want to do a better job at it, you want to improve or grow your skills, I'm always here to help as a consultant. And I look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you, Garry B. Jr., for being with me today. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so
Thanks for
much
having me. Thanks for having me.
for this conversation. And we're thankful for Garry to be here, and we're thankful for his wife allowing him to be with us today. You can watch Conversation with Tony Mobley at conversationwithtonymobley.com or Conversation with Tony Mobley on YouTube. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by Value Audio Visual Professionals who meet daily on Office Hours Global. And if you're interested in learning how we use Mimo Live, you can reach out to me on Discord at Conversation with Tony Mobley or on our YouTube channel and just send me a note that you're interested in learning about how to use Mimo Live, which is what Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced on. I want to say thank you to Mimo Live again for being able to use it as our platform for sharing. Conversation with Tony Mobley is has produced well over 100 plus episodes. We have had extremely important, serious, humorous conversations with many people. And if you have time, we ask that you go back and look at some of those conversations, and hopefully you will find something that is helpful. We want to say thank you again to Mr. Garry B. Jr. for being part of our conversation today, for doing the work that you do, and for being the person who you are. Next week, we're going to have Mr. John Drinkwater, who is a video production graphics specialist, and he's going to be sharing with us next week. And if you have time, Garry, we want you to check him out.
For
Um,
sure.
Conversation with Tony Mobley is an opportunity to have real, authentic, engaging conversations with people. We ask that you like Conversation with Tony Mobley on YouTube, but we also want to say to you that if you like what we're doing, feel free to donate to Conversation with Tony Mobley. We want to continue to improve the quality of our conversations, and we think that that is important. So we want to give you the opportunity. You can donate to Conversation with Tony Mobley at conversationwithtonymobley.com. There you can donate. You can make a one-time donation, or you can make a monthly donation, or there are several different ways that you can make donations to Conversation with Tony Mobley. We're looking forward to some continued support. And again, if you're interested in learning about how Conversation with Tony Mobley is being produced, go to our website and you can put in your information as a volunteer to participate in Conversation with Tony Mobley. And I don't think I've said this before. We have our producer is in North Carolina today. Typically he moves around the country, so he's in different places. The person who is the technical director, he is coming in from Warwick, Queensland, Australia. Another person, a valuable part of our team, Laura Thompson, is coming in from Texas. And so we are a global conversation that we have here. I want to thank my team again for all of their hard work, and we're going to say good night. Thank you again, Garry. God bless you all. Take care.